Greetings, Algo artisans. We told our private members last week and earlier that the Ethereum ETF might not happen for a while.
I knew it.
Today's video is Ethereum Spot ETF 2026, Schwab Bitcoin ETF. We're going to talk about all of that right now. But first, please like, subscribe, follow, hit the notification bell, follow me on X, all that stuff helps us get you more content. Okay, so we're going to start with an article over on the block. Spot Ethereum ETF approval unlikely until late 2025 or early 2026, says TD Cowen. Now, TD Cowen is an investment bank, and they have provided a clear timeline for when it thinks a spot Ethereum exchange traded fund will be approved in the U.S. Earlier this month, the bank said the approval could come after the November 2024 election, which makes a lot of sense. I'm sure that first of all, not reading from the article here, but just kind of what I know about the finance world, they're going to want to see how Bitcoin does. They're going to see how the ETF acts. It's a significant risk to bring something new to the market like that, and so they want to really get some data on how this crowd works. That way they can make sure that it's a decent thing to offer, number one, and number two, how much money they can make off it, how they can maximize the profit on it. That's my theory, and I think some of that is what they're outright saying as far as the safety aspect. You know, the SEC and everybody else wants to make sure that these ETFs are not going to be a problem. And the institutions, of course, are going to be a bit more conservative than other groups because they are dealing with people's retirement and they don't want to bring on too many of these products and bring a big risk into the market. Back to the article here. This is a quote from TD Cowen. It says, "We do not expect the SEC in 2024 to approve a spot Ethereum ETF." And this is their Washington research group led by Jarrett Seberg. And they wrote that in a note on Monday. This is a political call. We believe there is no upside for SEC Chair Gary Gensler to approve a spot Ethereum ETF, given how upset progressive Democrats were over the agency's approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF earlier this month. Interesting. It begs the question, what's wrong with progressive Democrats? Why don't they like Bitcoin ETFs? I don't want to get political here, but something tells me that Bitcoin ETFs and Bitcoin itself is going to be something more along the lines of, freedom. Anyway, Gensler needs the support of progressives to push forward his agenda in election year, according to TD Cowen. Also, if Gensler pursues a different role, such as Treasury Secretary, hint, hint, in the event of President Joe Biden winning a second term, he will still need the backing of progressives, says the bank. So there's no reason to provoke a needless fight, says TD Cowen. We say needless, as our view remains that Gensler is in no hurry to approve an Ethereum ETF, as he would first like more experience with the performance of the recently approved spot Bitcoin ETFs. So that's kind of more where I'm leaning, but the political aspect is interesting. Yeah, I actually was unaware that the progressive Democrats did not like the Bitcoin ETF, so it might be that this is why Gensler is kind of poo-pooing the whole thing, said he didn't like the idea, but he was forced into doing it. And that should also tell you where some of the power centers lie, that the head of the SEC was forced to approve something that progressive Democrats did not like. It might be that the pendulum is swinging in a certain direction based on that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Ethereum chart now, because we have an idea that Ethereum may not have the rocket fuel that a lot of people thought it would if the ETF was actually going to happen anytime soon. And right now in the charts, this is a weekly chart. Each one of these candles is 5 days worth of price action. And you can see the price has been pretty much consolidated inside this range, this little range. And let me zoom in quite a bit here so you can see that. And price keeps bouncing back and forth ever since early December, between about 2150 and 2380. And I did a pretty good look at what I think might happen with Ethereum, how low it may go. And I did this a few days ago, but it looks as if right now, and I would recommend that you go back and take a look at that. I will link to that video in this video in the top corner, so you can just go ahead and look at that, because that's remained unchanged for me. But what I will do is take a short-term look at what might happen before anything else happens. Now, Ethereum is going to rely on Bitcoin quite a bit for whatever its price action is in the coming weeks. So Bitcoin is going to dictate a lot of what the rest of cryptocurrency does. That being the case, I think we're going to see Ethereum for now go ahead and make up within this same consolidation in which it has been since December. And a decent look for Ethereum right now is up to about 2380. Now, if Bitcoin is bullish at this time and breaks out, then Ethereum should break out as well. If Bitcoin bounces back down and it's analogous, it has the same kind of consolidation on the Bitcoin chart, right? And if Bitcoin rejects, Ethereum should reject, and we might see it head back down. And I do think that rejection is going to happen, and I think it's a decent probability that when that rejection happens, price might continue back down into this prior consolidation area. If it breaks below this 2140, 2150 area, it might head down into the right below 2000 possibly. It would have a hard time breaking down past about 2040, but it's a pretty good possibility if it does break out of this very long consolidation that we're going to see a strong breakdown. A little bit more news from Charles Schwab. They went ahead and added the Bitcoin ETF, the spot Bitcoin ETF. I know this one is a little bit later than some of the other groups that added this, but it does say here from the Charles Schwab website, spot Bitcoin ETFs approved, key issues to know. Trading is scheduled to begin today in this new cryptocurrency entrant after SEC approval, but investors should proceed cautiously and understand how these assets work. So basically they're just saying, hey, be careful. You might not be used to the volatility of these assets, and if you're going to trade them, understand that they're risky. And they're just going to, look, here's their explanation on this. I don't think there's any real reason to go through this. We know so much about ETFs, at least compared to what we used to know. And what they're saying here is that late yesterday, the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission approved the rule changes that allow the launch of spot Bitcoin ETFs in the U.S., right? The SEC did not name the ETFs, but Wall Street Journal reported 11 asset managers were green-lighted to launch the new project. The spot market, also known as the cash market, refers to forums where commodity securities and other assets can be immediately exchanged between buyers and sellers. And we go further into the story that we already know. It does say here that there are thousands of cryptocurrencies that have been trading for several years, as well as a few other ETFs linked to Bitcoin futures, but SEC approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs listed on established regulated exchanges such as NYSE, NASDAQ, and CBOE potentially opens up a new crypto inroad for investors who might otherwise not want to hold actual Bitcoin. I'm going to go into what's Bitcoin, trading on Schwab, just going to give you some basic directions here, ask questions, blah, blah, blah. And then they talk about the benefits of a spot ETF, where basically you could be exposed to the volatility of Bitcoin without having to deal with wallets and learning how to buy it and open it. And they talk about the risks. So basically Charles Schwab is really just bringing everybody through the basics here on their website. But the bottom line from Schwab is they continue to monitor cryptocurrencies as regulators and technology evolve. While some traders have made money on the change in price of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, and others have lost money, we suggest most investors continue to treat them as speculative asset, primarily for trading money outside of traditional long-term portfolios. And the reason I go through all of this, especially this last bit, is that here's what's really going on. Bitcoin is, I think it's gone beyond speculative, but it is very speculative. Crypto is comparatively speculative to, say, gold, right? In my opinion. And I think what they want to do here is they want to warn people, hey, you could lose money. It's volatile. But at the same time, they want to make money. And I think that they're trying to walk the line between warning people about the volatility and getting people to buy the product. And they want to get in on that sweet cash. And that's really like kind of the end of it. So we'll roll back to the chart here and take a look. It's the Bitcoin. It's going to look a lot like Ethereum. So we'll go ahead and just map that out briefly, but that rejection, that move up, and the consolidation is going to be, it's front-running Ethereum for that matter, so it's quicker than Ethereum, but we are seeing price head up. I did call this move up several days ago, but I think it's a good chance of actually reaching the top of that consolidation once again, and then whatever happens, whether it breaks down or whether it simply stays in that consolidation, we're going to see as that happens. And I would not mind shorting the top here at this point, but when price gets up to this 44,500, I would be looking at the algorithms to see what I should do, whether I should short it or not. And usually it's going to mean short if it's in a range like that. I almost always just short it, but shorting Bitcoin actually doesn't have as good a result according to my back testing. So I have to be real careful with that. I would prefer to let Bitcoin come to the bottom and consider taking a long. My algos are usually pretty good at saying whether or not shorting or longing these ranges is a good idea. It's like an extra bit of knowledge as to whether or not I want to take that trade. So at this point though, I wouldn't go long until price really broke out here and held above this 44,520 for at least a day or two. Now, if that happens, there's always that chance it just rockets up, but I think it'll probably give us enough time for an entry on such a high time frame. Okay, well, that's it. I know this was a fun look at some of our basic charts, but it's always good to review the main cryptos before we do anything else, because they really are what's going to push the whole market. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for watching. Come over to www.algofactory.tech. We can show you how we do all this stuff. It's actually relatively easy once you learn it. It does take a little time to learn. And don't forget, it's www.algofactory.tech. Trade your job, upgrade your life. See you on the next one. All right, hope you enjoyed the show. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. On the screen there, you can see our website, algofactory.tech. Step that QR code to take you straight there. I'm also very active on X. That's algo_factory777. We got TikTok and Rumble. In the meantime, we hope to see you over at the website. Come on over, trade your job, upgrade your life. We'll see you there.